Hey guys, Mike here. So I'm going to put this video out a little bit early because my wife and I and her family, we're going to go spend some time with her family in Georgia for the holidays. So for those in America, happy Thanksgiving or happy holidays. For those not in America, hope it's a good day for you as well tomorrow. Okay, so and be safe on the roads if you are traveling. Now, obviously, what happened last night? Nvidia earnings came out, and boy, it was some manipulation like crazy. Two FU type candles that said, "See you later, premiums." And that's what happened last night after they reported. But what did I tell you? What did I talk about? Watch the dip buy and see if dip buyers come in. They came in full force last night, pushed that thing back up. And we'll get in a chart of what happened today, but something else has happened as I'm recording this. We're also going to get into Tesla. I said that'd be a big move. Couldn't tell which way, and we found out which way, didn't we? And then some of you guys ask about fintech, and there's two travel stocks that people asking about. So I'll talk about those as well. Now, one thing that did happen this morning quietly, I don't think the market could care less anyway, was continuous jobless claims. First of all, came out, but more importantly, watch the mortgage rates. They're dropping again, right? So that is good for the housing market. Now, continuous jobless claims, initial jobless claims came in cooler than expected. They've been coming in hot, right? So the market's like, yay, that's great. The Fed won't do another rate hike and all that stuff, but I think they're kind of past that now. At this point in time, Michigan consumer sentiment came in as is, and so, that leads us into Nvidia. That was the big one, right? So you see AI stocks pumping today. Nvidia, you can see, is actually red for the day and actually went down quite a bit, but dip buyers are coming in, right? As I'm recording, as I'm looking at it, they continue to push this thing up, which I think we expected. That was kind of one of the big things to watch out for. And again, it's not even down that much anyway. And when you look at the earnings, I mean, man, look at Q3 right here. That's Q3. That was last night. Look at that jump from Q3 of last year. That's something you're rarely going to see, but it literally doubled, right? 206% year over year, which is just it's unbelievable. I mean, it's just I've never seen three straight quarters of earnings like this. Now, then you got the race in AI chips for the data center. You see AMD basically doing nothing down there. Intel's actually shrinking, but then look at that. I mean, 2022, 3.8 million. And now we're not even done with this year, and they're already at 14.51 billion. And so, we'll talk about that in just a minute. But again, levels to watch. If weakness continues, they want to sell this off and go into whatever. Anywhere from 465, 468, I think is your levels to watch. But right now, they're pushing this, as I'm recording this, back up to 490, excuse me. And so, we'll see. But again, watch and see if dip buyers are coming in. Of course, what else does this do? It lifts other semiconductors, even though it's red. Other semiconductors are pumping. I think the reason why Nvidia is down just because, honestly, it just did such a huge run up into earnings, and that's usually going to be the case, right? But AMD, all I want to see is what's going to happen to this trend line. Of course, what I thought happened, wicked above it, and then sold back below it. That is normal. It may consolidate along that line before breaking out into what that would be another supply area up there. But again, another big move up for it. And so we'll see when. I think it's only a matter of time, obviously, that it breaks through this trend line right here. But again, make sure you keep a close eye on that one. Now, and guys, before we continue, if you're getting anything out of this, please hit that thumbs up down there. I really appreciate it. And if you like the material here and the videos, think about subscribing. The big thing about Nvidia and what people are warning about these earnings is can you continue to grow it this fast? Because we know there has been double, triple ordering, stockpiling these chips, especially companies in China, because they figure they were going to get banned in the first place. How long can that continue? That's really the thing people are trying to figure out. And it's going to be tough to figure that out, right? And so we'll see how many more blowout earnings they got and wins enough, because, all I'm saying is look at Tesla's chart. That will be Nvidia, right? That's how it works. I mean, because, you look at Tesla, if you look at the infrastructure they have in place, their cash on hand, all this other stuff looks way better than it did when it was sitting at $400 a share, right? And that's obviously, all the stock splits is way higher than that for the stock splits. But, and all you've seen is just coming down ever since, right? So eventually that will be Nvidia. You just got to figure out when it's going to be, right? And this thing could keep, people are picking 600, 700. You just got to figure. And then, of course, what's going to happen? They'll probably do a stock split. That'll bring more people into it. So that's probably what's going to happen. And again, if I find anything else about how BlackRock, what they're doing, which is perfectly legal to help them out, I'll look around and see if I can find another video on that for you. Now, when it comes to S&P, we talked about that trend line, right? It's really all that mattered. And it peaked above it today. But that's, this is where the NASDAQ's ahead of it, right? It's hotter. So it's already broke over this trend line. And so, S&P is still trying to. I think it's just a matter of time, of course, before it does. And, you know, this morning we go to a smaller time frame. You can see it broke out above it, hit that major resistance there, propped back down, got rejected again, popped back above. And then it's basically just kind of trading right here. So, you know, that's what we're looking for on the S&P. Now, when it comes to Tesla, we said it's going to be an explosive move one way or the other, right? It exploded up, hit the prior day's high, went right above it, and then boom, absolutely collapsed down, right? Just went through all the levels. Again, that 433 area, you know, is a decent level of support, even though it broke it a little bit, it became resistance. But when we look over and actually look where it stopped at, and I'm going to put another trend line in here for you for support, you can see it's where the RTH gap used to be, where it started actually. And so we'll put this right here because we've seen multiple hits off this as support. And so we'll put that one in there around the 432.50 area right there. And so again, dip buyers are coming in on this one as well. This one you got to be careful with because if it breaks the 432, watch 425 because that's where the rest of that RTH gap is. It never got filled. And so just watch out. Again, a lot of people selling, you know, cash clear puts on this one around the 210 area. And so we'll see. The one thing I am looking at is going to be the seasonality for Tesla because you can see we kind of get a dip and then we take off, and then December seems to be a really good month for it. It's basically volatile, but tends to be a very good month. So we'll see how we end out in November right here, and if people just keep buying the dip on it. Now, the fintechs, right? PayPal, you know, has been moving up. You can see right there that 50 has been a brick wall for it. It's basically just kind of trailing along right there at the 50 moving average. I expect it should break above that, go in that volume gap, and go to about $60.75. That up there between 60 and 65 will be a beast to get through. It looks like the MACD on the daily is trying to roll over. Hopefully don't go below the zero line because that won't be good for PayPal and stuff. Another way to actually look at PayPal though is some people put this out here, and it could be, you know, you can say, oh, that's a bear flag. Maybe so. I mean, you can see above, you see the same thing when it fell, right? But this one is changing trend, and so, you know, either that you want to call it a bear flag, you can, or you can sit there and say maybe it's just a channel that's getting in to move up, and we're getting ready to bounce off that bottom to start heading to that $60.75, which lines up with that ascending trend line on the top. Now, Sofi, this one's sitting in a falling wedge. You can see multiple times, 1, 2, 3, 4 times it's been in a falling wedge and popped up, right? So we'll see. This is another one. You got a lot of resistance between that $8 to $10 area. I know the CEO has been buying shares and stuff. Usually when he does that, you usually tend to get a move up. But right now, you know, this one's lagging all the rest of them, right? I mean, I think even Affirm and Upstart have been moving up. But SoFi is different because it literally owns a bank and stuff. And so it's different than PayPal, Square, and all that stuff. A lot more overhead to it, things of that nature. A lot more moving parts, I guess you could say. So, you know, just keep an eye on it. I mean, again, if it can get back to 11, that'd be great. But right now, it's just lagging behind all the others. Now, Square, of course, has been on the biggest run right here. You can see right there, cut through the 50, cut through the 100, coming up that 200. I think it's going to be a beast for it. Again, coming up big resistance. Looks like around like the $65 mark, I believe that is. You know, but again, lots of momentum behind this one. I don't think it's reattached itself to Bitcoin yet, because when I seen Bitcoin pull back, I didn't see Square pull back. And that's really what I'm looking forward to, because, or really looking to see if this happens, because that's when it had its big runs. When it was attached to Bitcoin, Bitcoin went on the run, which we all know the halving's going to take place soon, all that good stuff. Then that's when you get your big moves. I don't know how it moves without it. I would suspect we're going to get some consolidation for sure. Maybe come back down around 56, I think it is, to get that bounce. That seems to be a pretty good support. Now, we talked about oil. Oil got slapped down by its big mama called the 200 moving average. And you can see multiple times it got slapped right there. So that's been a good bit of resistance for this one. We'll see if it can finally get above, or does it finally start heading down to that trend line. You see that support line right down there below, which is really good support for it, right around like the $67 area. Or do we just finally break above 200 and continue to wedge on it? And if I pull out, you can see what I'm talking about. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, bouncing off around the 67.50 area. And again, if this moves up, it's not good for our pocketbook. It is good for oil stocks if you happen to have them. Good for XLE as well. Now, Enphase, another one when it comes to energy. Watch out for this one. I told the members about this a while, and I've just been very patient when it comes to this trend line right here for it to break above. That's usually when it starts going on, you know, 20, 30, 40% type moves. And it's already been moving up off the 77 area, but usually when it breaks above this, that's when you get it, because it's going to move in that volume gap right there, and it loves moving volume gaps. That's what this big move's been all about. You can see the gap down right there. And so, you know, resistance around 120 right there. So if it breaks above that, just watch that one. Again, as yields come down, if that continues, that's good for that stock. Now, when you look at Airbnb, travel stock, another breakout here, retest, move up. And, you know, this is another one. If it can get above like 129, it looks like, and getting that volume gap, yeah, it's going to 140 pretty quickly. And so this is another one, for whatever reason, I don't know if there's been news on it, to get to move up, or I saw some big hedge funds buying into this one. Are they expecting a lot of holiday travel? Maybe that's why they're doing it. Not really sure, but it's definitely obviously a beaten down company, and it tends to like to break out like this. And it's like most of these stocks, you're seeing this a lot. If it does start to show weakness or whatever in January, February, you know, look between 115, 120, which is right through that volume gap there. Now, bring out the moving averages. 200 is support now for it. It broke over the 50. 100 will be resistance, lines up right there with around that 130 area right there. So it might get a little consolidation before you move up into that volume gap if you can see momentum continue in this one, which, I mean, it's had a nice move from, looks like 112 all the way up there. So pretty nice. Now, Walt Disney, we talked about again. Doesn't matter what you think about the company or anything else. This is technicals, right? Big move up for Disney from like 78 going up to 95. Like I said, once it, you know, hits that volume gap where you see the gap right there has been sitting there, it seems like forever. Going back to May, I'm gonna put that gap right there because it's been leaving gaps behind. But once it gets in there, which that's where it's at, you know, look for it to go to 100, right? And so we'll see if that can continue again. You know, this is a technical thing, has nothing to do with fundamentals or anything else. And so far, that's paid off and stuff because it's above all its moving averages right now. So those will actually be support. The 50 and 100 are turning up, as you can see right there. The 50 is probably going to cross the 100 in the next couple of weeks. And so look about another 5% move up if this momentum continues for it. Now, when it comes to Friday, you will have data out. And it's going to be S&P global data. You'll have your PMI flash information, manufacturing PMI flash, and services PMI flash. And the market will close early. And I mean, I don't expect much going on the last few, you know, Fridays or whatever, in the past years or whatever, excuse me, and around Thanksgiving, and, you know, hit or miss, whatever, but there's not gonna be a lot of volume. A lot of people won't be in it. So it will be an easy way to push it or move it up or down. Whoever tries to get in there, if some whales come in and stuff, start placing big bets or whatever. But honestly, not gonna be much going on short days. And so I'll have Saturday's video out for you guys with your questions. Feel free to put them in the bottom. Sunday to set us up for next week, which will be a normal week. And so, you know, and again, all the big earnings are done. There's really, I'm trying to think of any events that should really stymie the market. Normally, we'll go in Sunday's video about how seasonality is coming into the end of November and like the first 10, 12 days of December. It can be definitely questionable, to say the least, but I'll show you what I'm talking about on that. So again, you know, hope you guys have a great holiday. Don't forget, Friday is the last day. Take advantage of that 70% off on TradingView. Just hit the link down below and pick your plan. And if you need live trading data, just reach out to me if you can't find it, and I'll show you where it's at and stuff. Anyway, hope you guys have a great holiday. Be safe, and I'll see you on Saturday.